Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Venusaur Radio. So today, we've got another new Tag Team GX to be talking about. It's Venusaur and Snivy, and yes, we have already had a Venusaur Tag Team GX. We've already had Celebi and Venusaur. Yeah. Hey-ho. Now we've got two of them. Now, our translation here does come from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net. And the one thing you should notice here is that after somewhere around 25 Tag Team GXs, this is the first one that's actually got an ability. This is the first time we've actually seen a Tag Team GX that has an honest-to-goodness ability. And it's an absolute doozy. But what does it do? Well, if we start off having a look at the basics, we've got 270 HP, which is both very high and in line with the other one. We've got a retreat cost of 3, which is not in line with the other one. And remember, lately, retreat cost of 3 doesn't make us happy. It means no buff padding to get a bit more HP. It means no Pokemaniac to search it out. No, we don't like it. Weakness to fire is honestly crippling. With Welder running around, fire decks are amazing. Reshiram and Charizard is the best deck in the format. And to be honest, Blacephalon is also a really good deck at the moment. And that doesn't even use Welder here. That uses Naganadel. It's a bad time to be weak to fire, ladies and gentlemen. It is not great. Now, you are a grass Pokemon, so if you're not against a fire deck, you've got a bunch of healing. We can use Shaman from Lost Thunder to do a bit of healing. We can use Life Forest Prism Star to get our healing on. So if you're not one-hit KO'd, you can stay around quite nicely here. But we are going to need a reason to play this over Celebi and Venusaur. Incidentally, they've got different names, so you could play a deck with 4 of each of them in. And the ability basically says that as long as this is your active Pokemon, when you attach a grass energy from your hand to it, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. It is an automatic gusting effect. It is a Lysander or a Guzma without the switch for players that haven't been playing that long. And remember, I've said in a whole bunch of videos lately, we are losing our gusting options. We're losing Guzma. We're losing Counter Catcher. We're losing Pokemon Catcher. We're even losing Lycanroc. We are losing all of our best options for gusting our opponent's Pokemon into the active. So if you're playing this, you now have a huge advantage over your opponent because you've got gusting and they don't have gusting. Now the annoying thing is this is really hard to retreat. We haven't had Floatstone for a while now, and this has a retreat cost of 3. If this was easy to retreat, if this was, let's say you could retreat it with an escape board, then people would be teching this into their decks just for the gusting options in the same way that you tech Jirachi into your deck just so that you can use the ability to search out your trainer cards. That's not really what we're doing with Venusaur and Snivy. Because frankly, the retreat cost is too high, it's too awkward to actually get it rolling. But I tell you what, if you're playing this, this gives you a phenomenal advantage over your opponent. You're able to do things here that frankly, they're not able to do. At the moment, everyone can just play a Guzma, so an ability like this is like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, have fun with that. But post-rotation, when Guzma's gone away, and pretty much everything else has, generally you're playing Custom Catcher, you're playing Ninetales, or you're playing this. If we get something like Floatstone in the future, if we get an easy way to get this in and out of the active, you will see this teched in the same way that Jirachi is. In the same way that back in the day, people would tech in Luxray just to get some gusting going on. Now, one of the important things to note about Luxray is that did have free retreat. Now, it was a level X, so you had to essentially level X it, evolve basically, in the active. You couldn't do it on the bench, and then retreat it but it had free retreats, so it was easy to do. We saw the World Championships won with Beedrill teching in this Luxray just for the Gusting. We're not there with Venusaur and Snivy yet, because we don't have the easy way to retreat it, but if we ever do, it will be great. Make no mistake about it, this is a reason you would play the card. If you're looking and going, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Well, this would tip you over the edge. But what do the attacks do? Well, no translation needed for the main attack here. 1 grass, 3 colourless energy, 160. It's not terribly inspiring. Now, the good news is you're getting a 1-hit KO on a Dedenne. The bad news is that is the only GX you're getting a 1-hit KO on. I mean, if you're in the expanded format, maybe you come against a Marshadow and you're also taking that down, but they're the only two. And we're not having Choice Band post-rotation. If we did have Choice Band, we could start talking about Blacephalon and Ultra Necrozma and having a whole heap of fun. But we're not. If you're hitting for weakness, and look, there's a few you're hitting for weakness. Blastoise and Piplup, Slowpoke and Psyduck, Magikarp and Wailord, all of those are actually going down in 1 hit here. You are 1-hit KOing all of them. So that's kind of nice. The thing is, they're the only ones you are. If you're hitting for weakness, brilliant. Otherwise, ouch. And we said this when we were talking about Blastoise and Piplup just earlier today. If you're hitting for weakness, this is great. If you are hitting non-GXs, this is great. Even stage 2s like Dragonite go down in 1 hit here. Even your Prism Stars like Solgaleo are going down in 1 hit here. It's awesome. But you've got to be hitting for weakness, or you've got to be hitting non-GXs. If you're against GXs that aren't weak, you're not getting KO here. You're 2-hit KOing. But whereas with Blastoise and Piplup, you're 2-hit KOing while attaching extra energy and healing 50 for each energy you attach. Here, you're just doing 160. And we need to talk about the attack cost, because the attack cost isn't great. Grass and 3 colourless energy. Well, with Blastoise and Piplup, we were like, well, you're accelerating energy yourself, plus you've got Naganadel and Quagsire, so you're fine. Cool. This uses colourless energy, but we're losing double colourless, and we're replacing it with triple acceleration energy, which is evolved Pokemon only, and this is a basic. Yeah, this is expensive, and we don't have great ways to accelerate energy here. That could be a little bit of an issue. Celebi and Venusaur, we literally just go, look, let's just heal. It's slow, but it's alright, let's just heal. And maybe you can use your healing tricks like Life Forest, Prism Star and Shaman here to buy yourself enough time to get the energy on. But we don't have great energy acceleration here, and that could be a problem. Now, as for the GX attack here, we actually start off a little bit cheaper, 3 colourless energy. It does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. If you've got at least 2 extra energy attached to it, does not have to be grass. You heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. And the one thing I really like about this, you do not need to use grass energy. Because the ability here is amazing, and it is a great ability. And you might want to put this in a whole bunch of decks, whether grass or not. And now if you do that, you've got the GX attack, which you can use for whatever energy you like. Maybe it ends up in a Malamar deck. Maybe it ends up in a Welder deck. Maybe it does end up in a Naganadel Quagsire deck. And then you can accelerate the energy and then get this attack rolling. Incidentally, if you're doing that, there's nothing to stop you playing 1 grass energy for the main attack here. It's just not a particularly inspiring attack. It's fine, especially if you're hitting for weakness, but it's not terribly amazing outside of that. The thing is, 50 damage is actually kind of annoying. Sure, you'll get Ditto Prism Star, but most evolving Pokemon have 60 or 70 HP. you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of Poipo and a whole bunch of Inkay and a whole bunch of other evolving Pokemon just sitting there going, yeah, it's not quite enough though, is it? I mean, look, doing 50 to all of your opponent's Pokemon is quite nice. And healing all the damage from all of your Pokemon is obviously quite good. It can put your opponent in a position where they just don't win. Against spreading decks, you can let them spread a whole bunch of damage around, and right as they're about to win the game, you heal it all off, and that basically locks them out of the game. They're just not going to get the rest of the energy on fast enough. I'm not saying it's a bad attack, but I am saying that, is it doing enough? Like, for the energy cost, is it doing enough? Spreading 50 is great, but you're not taking KOs here. You're just spreading 50. That's what you're doing. And maybe that's going to put a whole bunch of other stuff in range, but outside of that, I don't know how much I love it. I mean, to put it in context, if you do this against a Reshiram and Charizard, they go down to 220 HP. You're still quite far away from getting a KO with the main attack here. So look, the GX attack is fine, but it's a little bit underwhelming, especially for the cost. And the main attack here is good if you're hitting non-GXs or weak GXs, but it's quite expensive and we don't have great ways to accelerate energy. The best thing about this is the ability, and the ability is great. And we're all basically now just sitting around waiting for a time when we can easily retreat this for free, and then we're going to be teching it into our decks just to use the ability. This is great Gusting. I just don't know how easy it is to use in other decks. But I'm sure before long we'll get some cards to help us out. Let's give it 4 Wassies to begin with, mostly for the Nuts ability. I'm not loving it as an attacker, but as an ability, yeah. I am absolutely loving it. I don't think it's the easiest one to use yet, but before long you're going to see this teched into decks because it might just be the best Gusting we've got. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm quite a fan of this, but I'd like to know how much of a fan of it you are. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.